everybody. Welcome to Rachel's Reviews. This is our next episode of Talking Disney. This is the podcast where we talk about a Disney classic film in the Disney canon. We let the random number generator tell us what we're talking about. And today we are talking about The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. This is the 22nd animated classic from Walt Disney Animated Pictures. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Stanford's here.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, doing good. And today we have a very special guest.
Yes.
My sister is here, Megan Wagner Lloyd. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Hey, no problem. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So if people don't know, you've been on Rachel's Reviews before, but it's been a while. If people don't know, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience?
Okay, yeah. I'm an author of children's books. I have 4 picture books out, and my most recent release is a graphic novel called Allergic, co-created with the illustrator Michelle Me Nutter, and it came out in March from Scholastic. So yeah, that's what I do, and you can find me online at meganwagnerlloyd.com and on Instagram at Megan Wagner Lloyd.
Well, and the reason why I thought that this would be a good place to have Megan be a guest is because the actual book is so important to this film, and the narrator is actually even a character in the story. And so I thought it would be fun to hear your point of view, both on Winnie the Pooh in general, but also on the film. So it's so fun. You've had 5 books, is that correct?
Yeah, 5 books out so far.
Yeah. So how do you go about your process of kind of writing these picture books?
Oh,
I know it's a big question.
It really depends on which project. Basically, I'm just always working on something at some stage or another. I'm just always gathering ideas of things I'm excited about, things I want to write about, and then some things take 10 years. Some things I finish in like a year. But it's really unique to each project, kind of the origin story and how I develop it.
Well, and how do you think that A.A. Milne and the Winnie the Pooh as books, how those impacted children's literature? Do you think they're pretty important ones?
Oh, I mean, I think so. I'm not like an expert in the history of children's books, but they're just a really big part of the canon and such a memorable part of so many people's childhoods.
Now, this movie is an important movie in the history of Disney because it was actually the last film that he had any kind of say in, because he was involved in the release of the Honey Tree short and then the Blustery Day. And that Blustery Day actually won an Academy Award for Best Animated Short. So after this, 1977, there would be no more films that had any of Walt's involvement on it, because he would have passed a decade earlier. So it's kind of important in that way. And I feel like, because we always talk about on this show, we talk about how we always talk about on the show our first experiences with the property, but it almost feels like, how can we even talk about that? Like, everybody is influenced by Winnie the Pooh in some way or another. I mean, I can't even remember the first time that I watched Winnie the Pooh, right? It's just such a part of your life. Would you agree, Stanford?
Oh, absolutely. And it's so great to be podcasting with Megan too. So Megan, thank you for joining us. It's so fun to get your insights on this film and on I honestly, I just can't remember life without Winnie the Pooh, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, my parents and my older siblings would read to me, all the time when I was little, of course, and I loved the Winnie the Pooh books, the A.A. Milne Winnie the Pooh books, and then of course I was crazy over the Winnie the Pooh shorts. I remember particularly liking Winnie the Pooh and the Blustery Day. I think I had a Disney made picture book or some kind of recording, some kind of audio recording with a picture book of it too. So anyway, yes.
Yeah. I feel like I watched Winnie the Pooh, and particularly I think we had a sing-along songs with some of these songs from the Sherman Brothers. that we would watch, and I remember that. But I also remember my younger siblings, them being introduced to Winnie the Pooh and watching it with them. So I felt like I had kind of two cycles.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I remember most of all is starting to watch it again with the little kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I must have watched them before, but that's what I can really remember is watching it as like a teenager.
This is when people say, what is the most underrated Disney film? Because that's a common question. This is my go-to, is what I always say, is the most underrated, I think.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
I
Yeah.
do, because I think it's just so easy to discount things that are made for children, as being less valuable. And I think that it's very hard to entertain children. And there's a lot of weird, bonkers parts of Winnie the Pooh that we don't really think about, like the fact that why is Mr. Sanders over his door?
Yeah. I've always wondered that too. It's like,
What?
how did he find that? Yeah, come up with that, and it's because it's also written kind of as they all write, with the
Mm-hmm.
letters kind of backwards and and whatnot. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that he lived under the name of Sanders, which means he had the name on the door, and he lived under it. Like, what? And of course, you have the Sherman Brothers songs, which are so charming in
Oh yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're so good.
Yeah, and I love the voice cast
Oh, I
that
do
they have.
too. I love the voice cast so much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really perfect.
Like, it's hard now to watch Jungle Book once you've seen Sterling Holloway as Winnie the
I know.
Pooh,
Oh,
Right?
and
yeah.
then
It really messes with your mind.
it does.
You're like,
I
what is
know.
going on?
Here he's cute Winnie the Pooh, and then he's caw.
Yeah.
It's-
And I really love Paul Winchell as Tigger. I think he's great there too, and they're
Well, and I
classic.
love Sebastian Cabot as the narrator.
Mm-hmm.
So much.
Yeah.
It's so charming to me.
Well, it was such a clever idea to involve the narrator as a character in the story. That was very smart.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how they have like the words on the page as they go
Mm-hmm.
into
Oh,
scenes.
my
And then
stars.
even how they'll use it like physically, like when they
Yes,
tip the page for him to come down. I love that. I
I
love
do
the way
too.
they like gave credit. They gave so much credit to the book, like the whole spirit of it, trying to like stay true to those books. And like even having it be a book on the page is just it gives
Mm-hmm.
it such a nice just style.
Well, and it's very funny because they add the gopher, and evidently Walt Disney wanted to add the gopher because he said that he needed to add some American, and needed to add an American voice and needed it to be funny. And so that's why he added the gopher. And at the end of whenever the gopher's in the scene, he always said, "I'm not in the book."
Yeah, I can hear that in my head right now. I'm not
Yeah.
in the book, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to talk about the ending, which I adore, but as a whole, how do you think they did in weaving these three shorts into one, in transitioning between them and making it feel like a feature film? What do you think, Stanford?
I think they did okay. I the the narration is so charming. The book, just as Megan was talking about how wonderful the use of the book is as a background, or as something that the characters interact within. Uh, I think overall it works. Personally, I would prefer just to watch the shorts, but just because I don't particularly love Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2. But
Oh.
but so yeah, for me it starts to get a little. I'm like, okay, let's keep it
Hmm.
moving, and by the time it
Yeah.
reaches there. But yeah, I think overall it works because there's nothing really jarring. I think they stay true to the look of it. Kind of
Hmm.
basically got to be kind of the look and feel, for lack of a better term with it. And yeah, I think it's okay.
What do you think about that, Megan?
So I think the version that I saw most frequently was just a collection we had of the three separate stories. And it wasn't
Hmm.
till later that I saw like the woven together one. And like it's fine. I can see why they wanted to do it, but to me, I just like the 3 separate stories better. I'm kind of in agreement with Stanford.
Mhm.
I mean, I do the ending is sweet,
I
and
do
how
like the
they
ending too. Yeah.
yeah, but then just like yeah, it's just it's fine. To me, it feels a little unnecessary because they're all so
Mhm.
perfect on their own.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't a time when Disney desperately needed a hit. This was 1977, which was kind of the dark age of Disney. They wouldn't have another film until The Fox and the Hound after this, and so I think that's probably why they. I mean, they probably were just looking around like we have to find something to release
Yeah.
that will give them a hit because they definitely needed it. But yeah, so it starts out with the honeybee movie, and one question I had is, why do you think we, as a world culture, love Winnie the Pooh so much? What's it so appealing? He starts out with his stoutness exercises, and then he goes to his thoughtful spot, which I love. But what do you think, Megan?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I love how he's like so comfortable in his own skin. Like
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't experience a lot of self-doubt. He knows what he wants and he wants honey. And yeah, I think in general we like characters who know what they like and what they want out of life.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also a really good friend. He's always there. Especially for Piglet, and I think that is something that we also really value in
Yeah,
characters and in people.
I think that's true. He's very sincere, and I think we love sincere characters. And he he wants to climb the honey tree, and I actually found online. It was pretty funny. I found out that this is on like the Alaska Wildlife Resource or whatever. One of their resources says bears do love honey and are attracted to beehives, but unlike in Winnie the Pooh, the bears eat more than just honey. They will consume the bees and the larvae inside the beehive, which are a good source of protein. Both brown and black bears will raid beehives. So
Oh wow. The more you know.
that's right. I thought that was really funny.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And I also think that Eeyore's a really great character. That he's somebody that kids can really relate to, kind of similar to Sadness that we would get later on in Inside Out. But what do you think about that, Stanford?
Well, I think that Winnie the Pooh is just so just instantly endearing, and uh, part of it I think is just I mean I think we all love like teddy bears, right? I mean I don't know. This just
Mm-hmm.
seems like some kind of like an innate thing. It's just this cute, fluffy, kind of harmless thing that and instantly I just was thinking about that actually this very thing that rewatching this because when he's doing his stat exercises, I mean Sterling is the great Sherman Brothers song, Sterling Holloway's wonderful voice work on it, and they're just absolutely adorable uh, animated character.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, or just a character given, I mean, with the books too, right? But I just think it's all it's like a combination. I mean, maybe instantly it's the visual appeal, but it's everything that just comes together, and I think it just really works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what do you think, Megan, as far as characters like Eeyore? Do you think that's helpful as a parent to have a character like that that's kind of gloomy and in touch with that emotion?
I'm not sure as a parent, but just in general, I love it kind of reminds me of like a comedy like sitcom, how there'll be characters that are kind of representative of like an archetype. It's like there's the funny one and the yeah, like the scowling one, or and what I love about Winnie the Pooh and about those kind of shows is that they're not all trying to like change each other. There's a lot of like acceptance within the friend group.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think it's nice with Eeyore, even though they'll try to help him and stuff, they're not like, hey, why are you so grumpy all the time? Like
Mm-hmm.
they're like he's kind of the way he is, and he's gloomy Eeyore, and they just roll with it.
Yeah. And then you have Rabbit, who then Pooh, after he has his debacle with the rain cloud disguise, the tut tut, it looks like rain, which is cute. He goes and he says he likes Rabbit because he uses short, easy words like "How about lunch?"
Yeah.
And he gets stuck in the burrow. And I don't really understand why Rabbit doesn't let him get pushed back because he has an open door. But he's like, no, we've gotten this far. Seems a pity to waste it. And then we get Owl coming in and he says, a wedged bear in a great tightness. In a word, immovable. I liked. And Gopher, no charge count. I work strictly cash. I'm not in the book, you know.
It's right around in the book, you know.
And then Rabbit frames Pooh's butt and it puts it makes the hunting trophy, which is funny. And then the whole don't feed the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Rabbit's a fun character. One of the things in the 2011 movie that I think they lost was they kind of made Rabbit and Owl the same character. They were both kind of cantankerous. And I think that you kind of need both of them to be different to make it all balance out. They also only have one female character in the stories of Winnie the Pooh. Only Kanga is the only female character.
The mother figure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just seems like so typical of the like English books where like boys went to boarding schools and then they write these books all with only boy characters.
Right. Yeah. Then we have Pooh lands in the honey tree and we finish off this part of the story. And then we get to the blustery day. And this one is focused a lot on Piglet, and he has the Trespassers William sign, his grandfather, in front of the big oak tree. And it was kind of funny the other day on Twitter. I asked if the stripes on Piglet were a clothing choice or whether that was his skin, because Roo and Pooh are the only of the animals that wear clothing. Obvious clothing, at least. So it was kind of funny. So everybody had all different opinions. It went back and forth, whether it's clothing or not. And so I said, can Piglet voice actor Travis Oates, the current Piglet voice actor, can he weigh on this? Shirt or no shirt? And he responded. He said, I asked the same thing. I was told shirt. So there you have it, folks. Piglet is fashion conscious.
Interesting.
Oh, that's adorable.
So now we know. I think that's as exclusive. That's as official as you could get.
Seriously.
Yeah. And Piglet becomes it's so blustery, the Piglet becomes a kite. And Roo says, can I fly Piglet next, Pooh? Oh, dear. Oh, dear, dear, dear.
Yeah.
It's cute. And they end up harvesting Rabbit's carrots. And what do we think about Piglet in this one? What do you think, Megan?
Well, I think this is definitely the best of the shorts. It's by far my favorite. I love everything about it. Yeah, it's so cute right from the start with Piglet being the kite. And then it's so funny with Pooh because he likes to just sit around and think and eat honey, but then he always has he's also like a motivated character and he has to go. He's like, okay, I got to go around and wish everyone a happy Wednesday. This is my new job. And yeah, it's just really adorable.
Yeah, what do you think, Sanford, about Piglet?
Oh, same. He's just adorable, you know. I think he's so cute. He's so sympathetic, so animated so well. Um, I don't want to necessarily go out of order, Rachel, but you know, so at the very end of the blustery day when Al cluelessly gives away Piglet's house to Eeyore, um,
Hmm.
I think the way they animate Piglet is just so phenomenal because Piglet wants to be happy, you know, that where they've got him a home, but he has to give up his own home, and the way he kind of um what's the word, wrings his hands, or I'm sorry, there's a different word,
Yeah.
but and just everything about him is so good. I think he's such a simple character, but really masterfully animated, and just
Hmm.
he's adorable.
I agree. I think he's so cute. And yeah, that in the ending when he says, I guess I shall live. I know I shall live. It's
I
so cute.
know,
And,
it's so cute, kind of
and
heartbreaking.
because Eeyore has been looking for a house for Owl. And so he says, I've got the perfect house for Owl
Oh
in.
yeah, I'm sorry, I messed it up. Yeah, Eeyore finds the perfect house for Al. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad.
And I don't think that Owl would like living inside the tree very much. I think he'd like to live on top of the tree. So I don't know why they could make some kind of agreement.
Yeah.
But because Owl's a lot bigger than Piglet. But I also I think it's kind of cute that he writes "Help Piglet me."
Oh, I love that
I
part.
love that
And
too.
there's like the little pause in the music and he
Yes.
writes it and he's like and he says like he cuz he's like Papa Piglet and he says it and writes it with the multiple P's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how anxious Piglet is because I think and thinking back on your question with Pooh, just like why is he so popular? Why do people relate to the character so much with Pooh and Piglet? I think it's just really they're both like express a lot of I think those two characters in particular to me, well, I guess Tigger too in another way. Kind of those two characters are just like facets of childhood that most like children feel.
Hmm.
Well, really maybe all of them except for Rabbit and Owl are like the
Yeah.
adults and
The
Kanga.
adult. Yeah.
But yeah, it just they can feel so anxious with Piglet and then with Pooh they can have their plans they're always trying to do that never quite work out the way they want them to.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have the owl for more, I think, comedic relief. That's why I didn't think it really worked making him cantankerous in the 2011 version, because he's supposed to be kind of the funny one, not the angry one. And when he tells this story of the aunt that laid a seagull egg by mistake, and he says, the owl talked from page 41 to page 62. And then
Yeah.
Eeyore says, if you ask me, when a house looks like that, it's time to find another. And so it's really cute. So Pooh gets credit for rescuing Piglet, even though he didn't really. And they says, well, we're going to throw you a hero party. And we also Pooh meets Tigger for the first time. And he says, T-I double gut-er. And Tiggers don't like honey. We learned that. That icky, sticky stuff. And he tells them about Heffalumps and Woozles. They steal honey. And I normally don't like the kind of Andrew's sisters kind of music. I don't know what you call it. That like band female like doo-woppy kind of music isn't my favorite, but I think it kind of works here with the rain came down and tumbled down and Piglet
Oh yeah.
started bailing. Like it kind of fits for some reason. I think in this to me, so I like it. And I guess it's those Sherman Brothers songs. It just works.
yeah, I think it works too. I
Yeah. I
like
like
it.
it too.
Hmm. And what do you think of Heffalumps and Woozles? It's pretty scary. What do you think? For kids, little, because considering this movie is made for such little kids, I think it's a little bit scary. Do you think, Megan? Or not too
Well,
much?
it's hard to think back. I mean, now like all the Pixar movies are so scary. that it seems really tame, but I feel like I don't know. Do you think it's scarier than like Totoro? I think of Totoro as like one of the most kid-friendly kid movies ever for like little kids.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's around that level of scariness.
Yeah, I mean, it's similar to the pink elephants on parade in Dumbo, I think. They're very similar sequences. What do you think, Stanford? Do you think it's too scary?
Well, I mean, you know me, the person who hates all things scary. But I don't ever remember being scared by them. I always remember being more fascinated by how clever they were, or just how interesting they
Mm-hmm.
were to look at. And I think I liked the song a lot, and yeah, I think I just feel like I've had the same reaction, just as you mentioned with Pink Elephants on Parade. It's more just like, and I think as of course as a young child, I don't think I was admiring the animation or, or look,
Mm-hmm.
or different things like that. But I always remember it always was very interesting to me, and I don't ever remember being scared by it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I remember being scared by Pinocchio, but I don't know if I
oh,
was scared by the Heffalumps and Woogles.
Pinocchio was like nightmare
Oh yeah,
inducing.
Pinocchio is so scary.
It's scary.
I don't remember being scared by the Heffalumps and Woozles. I think it comes across more as like silly or bizarre than
Yeah,
really
yeah.
frightening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so then Pooh asks Christopher if they can make a one hero party and do a two hero party. And I love that. It's so
Which
cute.
is so cute. I mean,
Yeah.
oh my stars.
And so then Pooh says, "You shall live with me. You shall live with me. Can we make a one hero party into a two hero party?" So cute. And then we have Winnie the Pooh and Tigger 2. And we get the first use of, I think the first use of TTFN, Tata for Now, for Tigger. I don't think it was in
Oh.
Bustery Day. But that's what Tiggers do best. And I think that you have to, as an adult watching this, you have to say that Rabbit has a point. I mean, Tigger is destroying his garden. He's being really rude. And yeah, that as adults, don't we agree? What do you think, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I don't like about this one is, like I said, like one of the things I really enjoy about the other ones is even if they like annoy each other, they all just kind of let each other like do their thing. And then this one, it's like Rabbit is really going way too far. Like Rabbit is trying to change Tigger from bouncing. Like it just seems
Mhm.
like breaking the code of how it works in the 100 Acre Woods. Like it's
Yeah.
not right.
Yeah.
He does learn though, and he ends up actually even bouncing at the end.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah.
a good lesson, but it's like, whoa, like Rabbit, you go too
Yeah.
far.
I always thought Rabbit in this one was almost mean.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Oh, definitely.
I clearly get his frustration because Tigger's wreaking havoc, but for what they do, what he's trying to do, I think is mean. And I mean, it's kind of funny that he's dragging Pooh and Piglet along, and they're clueless, but
Yeah, the plan to lose Tigger, and they take him out to the forest, and there's a sand pit, and they Tigger goes off, and they keep doing circles, and they keep finding the sand pit, and so Pooh says, "I have 12 pots of honey, and they are calling to me." So I couldn't hear them before because Rabbit would talk.
yeah.
And then they find Tigger and they say, well, "You were supposed to be lost. Tiggers never get lost, buddy boy." So yeah, there's that whole kind of part. And Rabbit, I kind of like the animation at Crazy Rabbit when he's starting to lose it. I think it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I see what you're saying before. In real life, Tigger's lack of respect for personal space would not
Yeah,
be okay.
exactly.
But you're just kind of along for the ride with the
Mm-hmm.
whole. But yeah, I mean, he he needs to not, like, in real life, it would definitely be not okay, but but it just in the 100 Acre Woods, it seems like it's fine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then there's a whole nother segment with Rabbit ice skating. And Tigger says that, oh, Tiggers love ice skating. It's what Tiggers do best. And he goes and he's a disaster. He says, Tiggers hate ice skating. I do think the little scene where Pooh and Piglet are tracking Tigger and Roo, and they're just going around in a circle. And he says, what's that? It's a Jagula. When you look up, they drop on you. I'm looking down, Pooh.
Oh, I love that part.
Yeah.
He sounds so nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking down, Pooh. And so we learn that Tiggers don't jump, they bounce. And so then Tigger says that bouncing trees is what Tiggers do best, and with Roo. And he goes all the way to the top, and it turns out that he's scared of heights. And so he's he can't get down because they can't climb down because his tail gets in the way. He can't jump down because he bounces. And so finally the narrator helps him out. What a space you've gotten yourself into here. And he says, I promise I will never bounce again. And Rabbit gets very excited about this. We'll just have to leave him up there forever. and then he is very sad that he can't bounce anymore. And then Roo says, I like old bouncy Tigger best. And Kanga says, so do I, Roo. And that's when Rabbit relents. And I guess I can see what you're all saying. I never really thought about it that way, but I can see how he is kind of trying to change Tigger from who he is. But then Rabbit learns to bounce. It's the bestest.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get our ending with this kind of epilogue. And I love it. I think it's so great. And he says that all stories have an ending, and that Christopher is going away to school. And he asks him, what do you like doing best? What I like doing best is just doing nothing. And then he says, I'm not going to do just nothing anymore. Because he's going away to school. And then he says, Pooh, promise you won't forget me? I won't. I promise, Christopher. Not even when I'm 100? How old will I be then? 99, silly old bear. Wherever they go and whatever happens to them in that enchanted forest, a little bear will always be waiting. And that's one thing I didn't like about the Christopher Robin movie, is that that Christopher Robin completely forgets about Winnie the Pooh, and they are just left waiting in limbo in the 100 Acre Woods, waiting for Christopher to return. I'm like, that's kind of mean. I didn't like it.
I never saw that one. Have you ever read any of the stuff about, like, Christopher Robin, like the real one, his thoughts on the books and stuff?
The A.A. Milne?
Yeah, like his real son.
I haven't, but I saw
Wow.
there was a movie about A.A. Milne, but I didn't care for it. It was very depressing. I mean, it's probably accurate, but it was like, I didn't need that in my life. Tragic backstory of A.A. Milne.
I was going to say, don't look up about Christopher Robin, because he wasn't a
dear.
fan.
Yeah.
Thanks for the tip. I will.
What was that movie called? The A. Milne movie. I
didn't see it. That one. Yeah.
It was called Goodbye, Christopher Robin. It was called, and it was a downer. I was like, I did not need that in my life. And I didn't like Christopher Robin either. I didn't like Christopher Robin. They basically like turned the Hook story into the Christopher Robin story.
Okay.
And made him like grow up to be this workaholic or whatever. And but even that, I didn't like it. I didn't like what they did. And it was pretty cute though. They did have a good designs of the
yeah. They used
characters.
These photorealistic stuffed animals,
Mhm.
rather than having them be animated. They were like,
Yeah.
actually like the toys, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was what I thought. The designs were well done, but I'm with you. I didn't care for the film that much.
What do you think of the Pooh rides in the parks? We didn't really talk about that, but there's one at Disneyland and Magic Kingdom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the two stateside ones, I think the one at Walt Disney World's a little better. Actually,
Mhm.
frankly, it's a lot better.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't care for the one at Disneyland at all. I think it's lousy.
Yeah, they won't have them now, but one of the best parts about that is actually that they almost always had characters in front of the Winnie the Pooh ride in Disneyland,
Yeah.
which is nice.
The real one, because that what a Disneyland that I am. I've been to Tokyo Disneyland,
Hmm.
and Tokyo Disneyland has the best Winnie the Pooh ride ever. In fact, it's one of the best rides in the park. It's a trackless vehicle, and you
Oh,
just are right there on the 100-acre wood. I'll see if I can find a YouTube.
that'd be
I think
fun to tweet out.
there's tons of ones on YouTube. I'll find one and send it to you
Yeah,
because it is honestly it's such a fantastic ride because
yeah,
they love their Winnie the Pooh in Japan. That's a
right.
um, huge character there,
Hmm. I've heard
and
I want to go to Tokyo Disneyland so much. I've heard
it's
it's
amazing.
so good.
Yeah,
But Maggie, you went to Disney World not too long ago. Did you go on the Winnie the Pooh ride?
No, I didn't make it on that one.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, the only thing that I would resent about the Magic Kingdom ride is it took away Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is one of my
yeah,
favorites.
that's a real
Oh,
bummer
it
that they.
did?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So,
And at
yeah.
Disneyland, it took away the Country Bear Jamboree, which I think some people maybe not happy about that. I mean, not that that was the most popular thing there,
Hmm.
but I still think it was better than what they put in, personally.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. I love a dark ride. It's hard for me to find one that I don't like,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's probably not my favorite. But we had some comments on Twitter.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and so we have AJ Howley says Disney's best anthology film, if it counts as one, by a country mile. I love how sweethearted and innocent it is, and I also love how that sweetness and innocence doesn't become corny as I grow older and more cynical. The last lines always make me cry. So I'm with
Yeah.
AJ on that one on the last line.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say, I mean, if you're counting Winnie the Pooh as an anthology film, I would say that I think that Fantasia is the best, but then probably this would be my second favorite. But Matthew D. Klein, he says Winnie the Pooh is a fun adaptation of the A.A. Milne story. It is heartwarming, and the theme song is great, along with the other fun songs. The only downside is that I wish that Rabbit wasn't a jerk, especially towards the end.
Yeah.
Jacob Martin, he says one of the sweetest, most delightful Disney classics. And then Sam Super Daria 24 says Eeyore helped me realize people would still love me when I'm sad, which is the cutest comment. I
That's a
love
nice
that.
comment.
Aw.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. Isaiah Washington says, I freaking love Tigger. And then I'll read a couple more. Dalton Carter, he says, a wonderful adaptation of the classic stories and possibly the most heartwarming and sweetest film made by Disney Animation thanks to the charmingly simple animation style, lovable and relatable cast of characters, and catchy songs by the Sherman Brothers. And one more, Jasmine Hernandez says, I grew up with this movie, and it's the reason why I love Winnie the Pooh so much now. So, and CC Takakato says, Eeyore is the best. So we gotta like Eeyore fans.
Yeah, Eeyore. Shout out to Eeyore.
Yes. So, yeah, and we are going to be doing the random number generator. Actually gave us Fantasia 2000 when we did it, and we figured we can't really talk about Fantasia 2000 without having talked about Fantasia. So we're going to do a dual episode, cover both movies. So it's going to be fun. We're going to put on our classical music caps, and it's going to be great.
Excited
for our next episode. So thank you so much, Megan, for coming on. This was really fun. Get to have you on my podcast. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I appreciate your insight into this film. So thanks so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, thanks so much, Megan.
Yeah. And Stanford, how can people find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Stanford Clark, and I have a movie podcast and blog at moviespastandpresent.com.
Great. And I don't know, Megan, do you want to share anything? Your Instagram or anything? Or
Yeah, my Instagram is Megan Wagner Lloyd, and my website is also meganwagnerlloyd.com. And yeah, you can find my books basically wherever books are sold.
Great. And make sure you're following us at Disney Talking on Twitter. And we'd love to have your comments and feedback on there. And also you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check that out. Well, you can also find me at the Hallmarkies Podcast. Lots of good stuff coming up over there. So thanks so much, everybody. And we'll be excited to talk about Fantasia coming up soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.